pay for something like that. It's right. It's the eternal question. And there's no doubt the guy was crazy. So, and I think he's got the. I think he's apparently as long as he takes his medication and he has to check in and do all that. So I guess so.
Yeah,
I don't think he's a threat as long as he's medicated.
40
Right.
years. 40
So
years they kept him in the hospital. I think he does. If it's not the president he attempted murders, he's out 20, 25 years ago.
and again, I think it all depends on. Yeah, you're right. If all things being equal,
Yeah,
right?
because
I think you're absolutely right.
they said his mental illness has been under control for over 20 years
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
hospital
And
setting.
there was
So
weird. I read a report that he didn't remember any of that. Like that people would have to. He had to relive it because he just didn't know he even killed the president or shot the president or killed anybody. It was weird. Sirhan I think is far more interesting, right? To see what he was really, was he really brainwashed and all that. I think is far more fascinating. I think he wasn't, but it's still far more fascinating.
yeah, and Sirhan is the killer of Bobby Kennedy. Shot him in the
Right.
in a Hollywood hotel. The last words of Bobby. This was a trivia question recently on a show that. What was the show? Oh, it was Cash Cab. That show. The trivia question was whose last words were "and now on to Chicago," and the answer, of course,
Oh
was
yeah,
Bobby Kennedy. That's the last thing he said
yeah,
right before he walked off stage. It,
yeah.
it, 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 it just we've had it happen numerous times in our society where people have been assassinated. It's one of those things that even when it happens, you're like, what possesses somebody? I mean, John Wilkes Booth thought he was doing the South a great favor by assassinating Abraham Lincoln. He actually did one of the biggest disservices because Andrew Johnson became president. He was weak, so the Congress actually took over the reconstruction or the reintroduction of the southern states back into the Union, and they did it with revenge in mind, which left a sour taste in the Southerners' mouths, which some historians say directly related to why once the Southerners got back in control of their own states, they enacted the Jim Crow laws. So that Lincoln would have brought the Union back together better, so that John Wilkes Booth actually did a disservice to the 12 Southern states by killing Lincoln. Of course, we Garfield was killed by an anarchist. McKinley was assassinated. Kennedy assassinated. You had the assassinations of Medgar Evers in the early '60s, Martin Luther King Jr., Robert Kennedy. Then you had in our lifetime, you had Ronald Reagan shot but not assassinated. Gerald Ford attempted assassination 2 different times and they never got him. And then John Lennon out in front of his apartment. So it's one of those things that it's happened quite a few times, but I still never can wrap my head fully around it.
Well, there's an Indian curse that for 100 years, any president that would be elected with a zero in him, he would be assassinated or at least tried. And it's pretty true, except for I think one. So there you go. It's an Indian curse.
Well, we did trick the Westerners did trick the country away from the
Now,
Indians with some army blankets, a
wasn't
few shiny trinkets,
wasn't
and
the
a couple
wasn't
cases
the
of liquor.
Westerners. That wasn't the. I mean,
The
the Trail of Tears
European,
by far and away the worst.
the Europeans.
Yeah, yeah. Well, all the Trail of Tears happened after we were a country. So,
Right. Yeah.
um, yeah, well, yeah. There were no Indians that came out of it. Oh yeah, this is much better.
No. No. Uh, and
Culture always wins.
the only Indian tribe I'm aware of that never signed a treaty with the U.S. is the Seminole Indians, and that's because Osceola was English trained.
Well, that's not entirely true. I mean, technically, I guess it's true, but it all depends on what you consider a tribe. Um, because if you only consider a tribe the ones that were recognized by the federal government, then you're missing out on probably 90% of all the Indian tribes that existed. So that's a misnomer.
I know that the Cherokee took it on the chin. I know that.
Well, there is no such thing as Cherokee.
Well,
right? I mean, Cherokee is like
it's like 8 different.
Yeah,
it's like 8 different. It's like calling somebody Asian.
So
it's 8 or 10 different tribes. Yeah.
Right. That's correct. And so you can't.
They came in as one nation, but yeah.
No. It's again according to the history that I've been passed down. So the Croatan, and then they became the Lumbee. But the Croatan were a part of what you would consider the Cherokee, and we were never recognized by the federal government. But there was probably 8 or 9 tribes like that, with a group of people who many consider to be Cherokee, but they weren't. Again, it's. I'd always get them on the. They called them the Cherokee so they could say, all of you people, and we're going to put you in a lump group so that we can get you to march out to Oklahoma.
Well, see, I'd always thought the Croatan. I'd always thought the Croatan was part of the Cherokee Indian Nation. So I'm learning something this morning. See.
Well, again, that's what and the reason for that is because half the Croatan tribe went on the Trail of Tears and became part of what you would call the Cherokee Nation, right? The other half said, I'm staying here, and they went into the swamps, and they became the Lumbee. Even though they're the same people, well, they became the same people. They just divided in half, and that happened a lot. That happened all over the place, and that's why the Lumbee don't. That's why I don't have a reservation, and I don't have a casino, and my kids don't get the benefits of other Indian tribes. But at the same time, we weren't shackled by having to live off of the federal government for the rest of our life. So but that's so when anybody ever comes to me and says, "Oh, I'm part Cherokee," I'm like, okay, that's like saying, "Yeah, I'm from Europe." Okay, because again, that was a government brand so that they could get all of these people to walk to Oklahoma.
Well, it's got to be difficult then to figure. Got to be difficult then to figure out who to send a check to when the Cherokee Casino sends the checks at the end of the year.
But those are the only people who get checks are people who are living on that reservation. It's not, reservations are probably the worst part of America right now. I don't know if you've ever been to one. It's incredibly sad what these people are living in. They had the highest poverty rate in the country. They have the highest drug addiction and the highest alcoholism and suicide. They're the least educated amongst us. It's terrible, and nobody really cares.
Forgotten people. We need to take a break.
It's not that they're forgotten. They're just put up in postage stamps, right, in museums. People kind of push the Indian issue away and have for 200 years.
We need to take a break. When we come back, more with Galen Unall from Life South right here on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
Are you or your loved one being released from a hospital and wondering how you'll manage? Inform your physician that you want to go to Palm Garden of Ocala at 2700 Southwest 34th Street for your rehabilitation. Palm Garden provides pain management, post-discharge follow-up, diabetic care, psychosocial support, and so much more. Plus, they even offer outpatient rehab. This award-winning care facility has a team of licensed professionals dedicated to enhancing your independence. Call 352-854-6262 today.
Are you wasting time boxing up packages going to the post office or the UPS store? Are you tired of not knowing what you'll pay when you get there? Just Ship offers pickup service and flat rate packaging and postage rates, which takes the guesswork out of shipping while saving you time and money. So quit wasting valuable time and money. Call or text Just Ship at 352-234-3840. That's 352-234-3840. Just Shipped.
Now you've done it. Have you lost your mind? He's back. And you're listening again. A legend in his own mind. Don't believe me? Just ask him. Here's Tom Schmitz live on WOCA. The Source.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks on a Tuesday. Galen Unall from Life South joins us. Galen, I just got some sad news across the Facebook Messenger here to me. Longtime caller and listener to the show, Jim Penna. Unfortunately, Jim Penna passed away yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, long time. Look, it's going to be avoiding the show because Jim was my go-to guy. If I didn't know something, I just put it out there on the airwaves. Hey, I don't know something. And Jim would call within seconds and give me the answer.
That's right. He loved the trivia, too. So
He did.
He'll be missed.
Penna's a long time caller to the show. He great guy, and would bring me
all the time.
About once every 2 months, 3 months, he'd bring me a can of jalapeno Spam.
Well, there you go.
He would just come by the studio and drop off a can of jalapeno Spam. You can chunk that up. You can chunk that up into chunks with some scrambled eggs. What you talking about? But Jim Penna, lifelong retired from the Postal Service, lifelong listener to the show. Just he's really going to be missed on these airwaves. Jim Penna sadly passed away yesterday.
That's too bad.
Yesterday, too bad. Too really too sad. Too bad. So I wanted to get that out there. So Galen, baseball is winding down. It looks like the NL East will come down to whoever wins the Phillies and the Braves 3-game series. They start today. The Red Sox and the Yankees played over the weekend. That's really for the wild card. That's really, aren't they 1 and 2 in the wild card? So are they're just playing for whose stadium the playoff games in.
Yeah, they sometimes say wishes come true, and I said I wish the Red Sox would win the World Series or knock the Yankees out of the playoffs in Yankee Stadium, and it sounds like that's going to happen. At least that's what I hope happens.
So, it's and what happens a lot now during the games is like last night was a bullpen game for the Braves. I mean Sunday, was a bullpen game for the Braves. I hate those games. You get a bullpen guy there, he's only going to go 5-6 batters, and they just take forever. I don't know. I like starting pitching and then relief pitching afterwards. And I know you do it because your bullpen, you got to set it up, and you do it to give your pitchers a break and everything. I understand, but God, it's tedious and hard to watch.
Oh, what's crazy about it? I'll be honest with you. What's crazy about it is it works for teams with good bullpens. I mean, the Rays, I saw their record with their bullpen games. It's better than any starting pitcher they have.
Really?
They've won like 23 games. It's unbelievable.
23 bullpen games,
something crazy like that.
Yeah, they're like 23-7 or something with bullpen.
It would be, and they were talking about it like Cy Young. But again, that's where baseball is headed, right? If you get, because it's much cheaper than to pay one guy to go 3 innings and one guy to go 7. And the wear and tear on the arm, and they can go every 3 days instead of every 5 days, and then you're all built for the World Series and for your series of games and things like that. No batter gets to see them twice, right? All of these things go into the math that has become baseball, and the Rays do that better than anyone else. And I think I think this is here to stay. I don't think this is a trend. I think this is going to become I hate the term, but the new norm. I think more and more teams are going to go and say, no, we don't have starters. We just have a 15-man bullpen. We have a closer. We'll have a ninth inning guy, an eighth inning guy, and a seventh inning guy, and then anything else is up to the other 12 guys in the pitching squad. I think that's what you're going to go to.
So you think the traditional starter is going to be phased out over the next next 10, 15 years?
Yeah, and there's a couple of reasons why. One, we know that if you're only going to go 3 innings, you can throw harder.
Yep.
You can put more spin on the ball, right? You are, you know, you can just gas it out.
You don't have to pace your arm. You don't have to pace yourself.
Correct. Right. It's not like some what's his name? Cy Young's not out there. Oh, I have to pitch tomorrow too, so I have to pitch all 9 innings today. So this one's coming up at about 65. Right.
Yeah.
Hit it. Let's see what happens. No, those days are gone. And again, I think this is going to grow, and I think that the Tampa Bay Rays, especially if they win in the World Series this year, if they win the World Series, and that bullpen game wins the World Series, I think they're going to dominate. You did see they're talking about having a bullpen game in every series.
Yes.
Like game 3 or 4.
Yes.
Of every series will be a bullpen game, and look out. You like it or not, but there were guys who didn't like relievers.
And now they're everywhere.
Or savers, or your ninth inning guy. And any team that doesn't have a ninth inning guy or a closer is done, right? They're like, oh, this team can't win. They don't have a closer. When Dennis Eckersley did it, people were like, or Raleigh Fingers even, or Goose Gossage, like, this is a sham.
Well, when
you got to
Dennis
finish your
Eckersley,
own game.
I remember when Dennis Eckersley won the Cy Young. People were like, how in the hell can you give a guy that's a closer, eighth and ninth inning guy? He won the MVP and the Cy Young. How's that possible? But Eckersley was worthy of that. Last night was the Monday Night Football game. Pitted the Dallas Cowboys against a rival Philadelphia Eagles. They made a lot about this rivalry on TV, the nastiness of it and how it had always been this heated rivalry and everything. What you saw last night was a quarterback who has weapons, who knows his system and is comfortable in his system in Dak Prescott, and a guy who's still a rookie. People say, oh, Jalen Hurts not a rookie. This is only his 8th game he started. He's he's in his 2nd year, but he's still at rookie status with his experience. And it looked that way last night. There was never a chance that Dallas wasn't the best football team on the field. And the Eagles looked bad, and they looked like they were being quarterbacked by a rookie.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of either. I'm not a fan of Tua or Jalen Hurts. I don't think either one of them will be a very good throw. Dak looked good. Zeke looked good, but that defense is pretty atrocious. So we'll see. Lot of football. You got 17 games this year, so a lot of football to be played. Let's see what the Cowboys can do. There was a one throw that Jalen Hurts threw out to, and Diggs picked it, and I'm like, oh, that was a terrible throw. It was late.
The underthrow, the one he underthrew, really bad.
Yeah. It was like, ooh, that's not a good throw.
It was a rookie mistake.
You know who he is. He reminds me a lot of is Jameis Winston. He'll make a throw and you're like, oh wow, that was special, and then he'll make 4 or 5 bad decisions. Jameis Winston. I don't know if you watched any of his games this weekend. He threw one up in the air.
Off his back foot.
Sacked.
Yeah.
Not off his back foot, off of his butt, basically. And they caught it for a touchdown, and he came over, and his coach, Sean Payton, looked at him and said, and you could literally see him going, you can't do that, right? And James was just like, what? He caught it. I said, don't. And he's like, don't do that. You know what I mean? Because when he gets away with it, he's a hero. So, yeah, it's GOAT or hero. It's like me playing golf. I'm like, I can get it through these woods. I don't need to punch out. I'm a hero. right?
Got about 45 seconds left with Galen. You know, Galen, we won't get into it today, but we really will before the week's over. Get into the game everybody's anticipating. It's a Sunday night game next Sunday night at 8:20 as Tom Brady returns to Foxborough, Massachusetts to take on the New England Patriots from Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm looking forward to that, to see it's going to be a standing ovation. The place is going to go nuts for him. Hey, Galen, where is the Bloodmobile today?
And Gronk comes back.
Oh, yeah, Gronk comes back too,
We'll be at the Publix right there on 40 East Shopping Center right there on Silver Springs Boulevard. Our donor center's only about a mile and a half down the road, so come see us there as well. Give the gift of life, donate blood. LifeSouth.org.
Galen, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, bye, y'all.
We'll be right back after this timeout. 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Broadcasting from the Ocala International Airport, this is WOCA AM, W242CA FM, Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pry.
U.S. Judge Casey